Alrighty, hello there. My name is Kento. Now, some are probably going to be wondering why I'm even recording this, or never mind the fact. I had a feeling that someone has been telling me to record my thoughts or write them down mostly. So, since the only thing I'm good at doing is actually talking instead of writing, I'll just say this. As one of the ideas I came out with while writing on that fimfiction website, I came to understand one thing. There's a base rules of engagement on that website. Now, I might just post this on YouTube for the hell of it. What I'm going at here is there's a basic line of logic within everyone's story in which it's always portrayed in most stories throughout the entire actual website, no matter which character or original character chosen to play in the part. Now, some people are probably at this point listening, wondering what the hell I'm talking about. Let's jump to, I think a most iconic one on the website would be Scootaloo. For the fact of choosing Scootaloo, that everyone usually portrays her orphan or loses her parents, or something tragic, always connected to the Rainbow Dash. That's probably because of the actual fandom behind it, but everyone who usually uses Scootaloo in a story, and I do mean most, ends up portraying her as an alone or by herself in some traumatic event or something emotional. Most of the stories revolve around that, actually, with that. That's what I mean by rules of engagement. Simple, same ideal logic that every person thinks, but does not say. Like how everyone has a general understanding and same idea for traits for each character. Like how everyone would portray Twilight as brainy egghead throughout most of the stories that she is in there, and is kind of thick-skulled when it comes to love. Probably losing track here. Yes, if anyone actually thinks of using any of these ideas, it'd be mostly for a story, because this is what I basically mean. There's a basic line of logic in each of the stories that every character has basically the same traits. It's not like it's written down saying this character should act that way. It's more of a general understanding of everyone thinking the character should act that way. Like, there's no train of thought between two people saying the same thing. It's just one person reads a story, says to write her own, and thinks what Applejack should do, and the next person who does the same thing, the next person does the same thing. And everyone just ends up having a base general line of how a character should act in any situation. And this becomes the basic rules of engagement I'm talking about, or, well, the unwritten laws in which govern all of our fictional reading on this site. Well, continuing on here, since none of this is actually written down anywhere that I could find, someone should probably start a form describing that. Just characters, traits, and so forth. But I kind of doubt anyone would, because it'd be kind of pointless. Because these are just general statements of each character, what everyone thinks. It's more like an opinion on how everything is. So there always would be someone different. But moving on. General introduction. Alrighty. Now the meat. Going to the meat. Meat. Alrighty. What I'm going for as this is, if you understand what I'm talking about just now, in any sense, you actually have more of a general idea how to come up with ideas for more original stories then. You see, when you understand these basic ideas, or unwritten laws, or rules of engagement, you understand there's a bunch of commonalities, which is just common traits found between all stories. Now, if you're coming up with original ideas, you might want to stay pretty much headlong clear of any of them. But then again, A great story will have to involve some of these commonalities. Like how Scootaloo is always alone, but the plot in which she's placed in can always be different. Something always draws the character in and binds it to the story. It's not like you're going for a hook, line, sinker thing in the prologue. You're pretty much going for... shoot. Best example I can come up with at the time right now would be that Family Guy episode where it was about identity theft, and Peter lured that guy with pieces of candy. Something like that. Something to get their attention. Doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be flashy. Something that just drags them in. Something common they like. Something they just enjoy. And it drags them in. Now, I think I might be getting off topic here. Alright, the commonality part. If you start to think of what the general statements would be for your character and basic storylines for each character, like how in most Rainbow Dash ships, one is usually in trouble or emotional distraughted, or in distress, I mean. Screw that word. Distraughted. Ugh. So, here's the thing. Why... okay. Reorganizing here. Alright, what I was trying to state was, within that, there's always a key point in which it's always the same with every story. Doesn't mean we do not enjoy it just as much. In fact, we might enjoy it even more. We just personally like the storyline, or like how he portrays the characters, or just likes how the action plays out. Either way, the basic thing between a ship with an apple dash is the fact there's always some type of calamity. Now that's a commonality, and to be quite honest, I can't really think of an apple dash without such a one. But you're getting what I'm going at here. There's always a common thread throughout every story. Most end up ignoring this because it's fan fiction, so it doesn't actually have to be extremely different. And most people write one-shots just because it's fun. Now I'm talking to those who actually want to, like, go through and analyze, I guess. I just feel like I have to say this. So you might want to stay clear of all these. So basically, you have the idea what a commonality is. The thing is, though, a great story has to have the binding of a commonality within originality as well. Originality with commonality. Kind of two negatives, or well, it's kind of like yin-yang. You gotta find the balance. The balance between the both. It's kind of like interweaving them in there. Basically, guess I'll be going for is the big plot points, turns, and events should be original as possible, while using commonalities to slowly weave in the threads and the flooring foundation for the rest of the story. Now, if you're thinking of it like this, you could just break the whole thing down too, to a point where, getting the next thing, you need a point. And by that I mean a point, something your story states. Kind of like how Dr. Seuss always has a meaning behind every book. Even if the meaning behind every book isn't big, there's a meaning. Like how Green Eggs and Ham has only 52 words, I believe, are used in that entire book. Now you're probably thinking, but there's like hundreds of words. Yeah. But did he reuse a lot of the words? Yes. He wrote a book reusing every single word because somebody dared him to. Kind of funny, right? I remember that. I was like, an old school teacher said that. So yeah, if you're reading Green Eggs and Ham, look it up. Bet you 52. If not, someone correct it for me, because I know it's around 50 something. Alrighty, moving on. Putting that as a side note. Throw that away. Alrighty. As I was getting back to the point, as I just stated with the example of Dr. Seuss, there's a point behind every story. Some type of tale or some type of thing someone wants to state. every episode of MLP has this point. Your story too should have a point. Point doesn't have to be big, flashy, or anything. Just a simple idea. Just simple. Like, let's say, use Scootaloo again. Probably gonna use her a lot in this. Just imagine. She wants to be happy. That's the point of the story. She wants to find happiness. Kind of a good point, right? I think so. So we're going to use this as the basis for the story. Now, as I mentioned, commonalities and originalities should be used intertwinably, but that's when you get to the base plot and roadblocks, highways, and so forth. I'm probably going to use a lot of metaphors. Alright, since we're saying Scootaloo's point for the story will probably be that she wants to be happy. Alright. What other characters do you want to add into it then? Now here's the thing. It depends what kind of story you're doing, but let's say we want to use an original character. We'll go with Scootaloo's mother. I'll just call her that. Not going to give her a name. What else? I would use an old favorite, Rainbow Dash. Since most stories end up putting her in there. Always as a figure of admiration, motherly, sisterly. You know, some type of higher figure to Scootaloo. So, moving along. We have our three characters, Scootaloo, her mother, and Rainbow Dash. Now let's stop, pause for a sec, and think of the commonalities. Which one do we want to use? I would say turning Rainbow Dash into a mother. I barely see it. I see it happen mostly a lot. And some people like to do it between Sora and all that. You can add him in here as a side character if you wish. It's alright. But we're not going to do that for right now. We're going to picture her as a single mother kind of thing going on. I mean, right now she's kind of a teenager. So, there, see, I gave you a little backstory. See, the fun thing about this entire fanfiction thing, stepping aside from everything I was just doing, it's just that it's you can just be random as hell as you want. You can just be completely random. Anything, just do whatever. Alright, back to the thing. So yeah, teenager, coming mother, kind of like preteen pregnancy or something like that. That train of thought for Rainbow Dash. No, she's not getting pregnant. Alrighty. Moving on. Scootaloo. Let's do with the commonality as well. She's an orphan. Ooh. Everyone's like, again, probably. No, she's an orphan. So we're going to leave her as an orphan. Because most of the stories put her as an orphan, and everyone can always relate to that. Commonality. Now you're understanding, I bet, if you actually caught that. Because most of the stories put her as an actual orphan. Quite a bit of times, actually. Either running away from orphanages, or Rainbow Dash adopting her because she finds out that she has no family, or her family dies and becomes an orphan. Adopts her. Stuff like that. So, love tea. Alrighty. So we decided to make her an orphan. Alright, cool. Backstory, a little bit. Backstory. Why don't we leave her actually an orphanage herself? Ponyville, ran from orphanage. We'll leave it at that. Actually, no, it's not. Let's throw a little originality in there. She ran from her foster home with an abusive father. Ooh. Or mother. Either way. Ooh. Now that's something original. Alrighty. The fact she's been an orphan since she was actually a baby who was just born, left on the thing, ended up being adopted, was in an abusive family, ran away to Ponyville. Happy then. But now we're getting to the mother. Who is Scootaloo's mother? Why would she leave her child in an orphanage? Bam. Here it is. She is a stripper. Yeah, original-ish. But come on, you know all those. Have you ever watched one of those channels about crime and so forth? In those very bad areas, it usually travels from stripper to prostitute to jail, pimp slap, dead. Drugs involved as well. So, she was a stripper. Up in the Ganterlots, nobleman. Ooh. She ends up getting dragged away. Ends up doing a little dirty. Ends up getting a little frisky with a nobleman who wants her. Really wants her. Rawr. So, they end up spending a couple of nights together. He gets to become a real, well, jerk. She ends up running away, but finds out, well, months later, she's pregnant. Oh, but she's a single mother. She's single. She's a stripper / prostitute. She's on drugs. And she has not a suitable income, and it's a very deplorable place. So of all she could have done, as soon as the filly was born, she ran from the hospital. Not ran from the hospital. She ends up giving the child away. Screw the hospital part. Giving the child to the orphanage. But later on, you find out she's like an alcoholic. Taking pain pills. Oh. Terrible mother, you could say. Threw away her child. So, we got the point of the story. I guess the point now changed from Scootaloo wanted to be happy. Nah, wouldn't change. She wants to be happy. How will she be happy? She wants to know who she is. Means she wants to know her mother and who her father is. Takes two to tango. And this happened right after a biology in school. And they do some searching. She tries to search up, look it up nonchalantly as possible. But Rainbow Dash somehow ends up, I don't know, finding out that she's a orphan. Decides to help her. After it became a sisterly figure. Thought it was in her power and felt like she needed to do it. Now I'm getting ahead of myself here, but that's alright. Even if I'm not even giving you full detailable facts. It's pretty much you fill in the blanks. Because either way, any idea of a story or such forth can either be done in 3 parts. Not 3 parts, 3 ways. There's the short stories in which are usually one-shots, involving the least amount of detail and usually ends up around 10,000 words, at the most, or less. Then there's the medium one that ends up with a kind of bit more details, but usually ends up being kind of vague. And usually ends up doing scene transitionals and skipping a bit. Then there's the people out here who just love to write. Who throw in the most detail and do full body paragraphs and throw in so much decor. And just wants to drag you in it. Yeah. A story for all ages. Go with that. Back to the thing. We had a point. She wants to find out who she is. Because she wants to know who she is. She actually had a family or something. And why they gave him up. It's kind of like a way of finding closure. So finding happiness. So we got the point. Yep, people. All that whole thing I just talked about. The point. All that. It's the point of the story. And the background of the characters, but yeah. So, we got the beginning, basically, with the point and everything to set it off. Now, how do you build the rest of the plot? Now, plot as in the meat on the bone. That, the stuff that's juicy, the stuff you want to know. How do you set that up? Now, people have a whole bunch of different ways of ideas on how to come up with ideas for a story. Yes, seems kind of like I'm getting sidetracked again, but I'm not. Just listen. We'll get back to what I was saying earlier. So a lot of people has an idea of how to come up with ideas. Some people listen to music while doing it. Some people need complete silence. Some people just do certain things. Some people work on things that are relevant at the time, or do things that are relevant to the story itself. Personally, for me, I just stand up and start thinking of the story out loud, saying the characters' names left and right. And I just go ahead and just start acting out the characters, if anything. And I start talking to myself, you know? I try to throw on the accent if I'm doing a little bit of a hick. The British. If not. And Russian and so forth. And I start to act a little like the character and just start to play it out. Then everything starts to roll off your head. My head, and just boom. Have the whole thing for the story. I've done this a lot, and but then again, you're just doing what you want to do and how you want to do it. So who cares? So getting back to the story, you're wondering how you would come up with a plot for this. Well, say a couple things out loud, I guess, would be the best point. Going for, say, drugs, sex, finding out who your parents are. And then you gotta throw in a bit of turmoil, some type of action, something. You gotta hit it with a tornado. You're driving along the road, you gotta be hit by something. Piece of debris, a tornado. Drive through an earthquake, something, you know? So we're thinking drugs, sex, lack of money. And you're thinking the guy's a jerk. So I'm thinking drug dealer. No, wait. Let's go with sex slaves. I mean, it's in Canterlot. Strip club. Paying women to have sex with them. So let's go with sex slave / drug lord / bureaucrat. Kind of a weird mixture. Then again, it's original. Originality. And so you got original enemy. Funny thing is, he's also Skulu's father. Or conflict. So you got the conflict. Just having a conflict alone won't do much. You have to have you have to have body, I guess. That's the word I'll use. More like how you see a tornado, you see debris flying everywhere. He may be the tornado, but he may be throwing some fucking cows and some sticks and twigs in a house. And Betty White. So what would he cause is what I'm getting at. Fact is, he's a nobleman, doesn't want to know he's an illegitimate child with a prostitute. Probably would destroy his whole political career. And if Celestia ever found out he wasn't a part of that, some investigations will go in and might find something's there. So, as Rainbow Dash helps Skulu try to find her parents, he ends up loving the family more. You know, over time it'll be generally grow into motherhood. You know, just that growth thing. Because no one likes the general jump thing between emotions. I mean, it works in one shots because they're just random. But if you're doing a long story, you can't just jump between full-blown defection to full-blown love. You gotta build it up. Even if it's a little build-up, you gotta build it up something, you know? It can't be an instant snap, because then it just makes no sense, and it just seems like, what? I'm confused. That doesn't follow anything. It's too random. Yeah, so it's like that. So, going with that. Stay away from it, hit it with a stick. Alright? So, as we're continuing, growth with Rainbow into a motherly character. As she was taking care of Skulu as they search around a bit. After some searching, they find the hospital. Oh, and they find the records to the hospital. In the hospital. Yeah, they found the records to her birth mother and who she was and all the information about her. And they're gonna use that to find her mother. Oh, but then they run into the foster parents. Sad day, sad day. A little abusive action. Twilight being not Twilight. Oh wow, I just lost track there. I mean, Rainbow Dash being protective. And, little 1-2, 1-2. If no one's understanding what I mean she clocked him one hell of a good punch in the eye. Little that, little police, little conflict. Alright, moving along. Well, they begin searching, and they search, ask names around town, go in the alleyways, and so forth. This starts to pick up on Scooty's dad's ears, that if they're searching for this pony, why are they searching? And one of them actually, Scooty ended up telling him that this is her mother, maybe her mother. And if that trips the ear, it's like, oh my god, I might have a child. Career downfall. So he wants to give her the child. And starts the whole thing, So far he's been playing it all nice and clean and such, keeping his business and his career in check. This kind of throws a little turmoil in it. He ends up going too much into the business. Kind of starts raising a little bit of flags here and there with some connections. So she gets a little red herring starts to pop up before. So back to school, looking for parents. Ends up finding his mother, who is drunk drunk beyond all measures of sanity, and who's high off pills. Bad mother and all this. And this conflict, trying to get her clean, trying to get a straight answer out of her. She keeps yelling, your father's dead, something like that. Well, that train of thought. And while I was going through that, he ends up finding them. Scooty's dad finds them. This guy's deplorable. Think of him as deplorable. Let's go with deplorable. Say the word 3 times fast. Okay, what I'm going at is, think of him as bad. Someone who will sell his own mother for a pack of cigarettes. Something that bad, he'll sell his own mother for, money. So, he's going through this, finds Scootaloo. Big, giant, climax conflict. Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash get captured. Mother's just thrown it aside, called a filthy slut, and nothing worth anything, not even worth a bullet or whatever you want to use to kill her. Kind of left there crying. They drag him to a warehouse, they get some straight answers, and he's planning on killing them both. Kind of the worst impression for Scootaloo to get for a father. He even goes out and says it. Breaks a little filly's heart. That her own biological father is going to put a bullet or kill her with a spell or something, So, at the last minute, guess who comes flying through the door? Follow them all the way there. She comes flying through the door, Scooty's mother. Crashes into a couple guards. He laughs hysterically. Like, oh wow, she's an actual mother or something, something evil. Gotta make this guy vile. Like he's the epitome of garbage. Come on, you gotta get evil here, even if you have to get like very, very stereotypical evil. Okay, serious face. Yeah, so he has enough rant, thinking of, why don't I kill your mother in front of you, then kill you? Or wait, why don't I kill your mother in front of you, kill Rainbow Dash in front of you, then have you kill yourself? Or something. Just to make this entire part, like, cruel and depressing as possible. Unbeknownst to him, though, earlier, about I would say, like half an hour, maybe? How far you want to make it for a run. Half an hour earlier or so, she was in a police station, screaming her head off about drugs, trafficking, sex slaves. The great bureaucrat himself. They're asking her to calm down. She's being hysterical. She throws one down and clocks another one. And he goes flying through a chair into a glass, whatever. You know, it makes the entire mess of the office, pisses the people off in there, and bolts out through the door. So what do you think the officer would do if he get punched in the face? He would give chase! Sounds like one of those chase scenes. So she goes there and runs to the place where they're holding Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash. Ring-a-ding-ding. Big bust. Big bust didn't even know it was a bust. 20 of the few of the royal guards that were watching the place, you know, they're staking out. This, like, he raised red flags earlier to Princess Celestia about the whole thing because of his impatience to get what he wanted. So there's guards staking out some of the places just because it's like undercover drug trafficking thing, kind of like you see in those crime shows as well. The cops come and it's like, wait, what? Relay what happened. Then they move in, and just before one of them can die, the guards bust the door, everyone gets arrested. Tried, convicted, you know, whole relief thing. Well, they end up taking the mother. They end up, all three of them, going back to Ponyville eventually. Got her help. Got her off the drugs. Got her off the alcohol. You know, Scootaloo has an actual mother who wants to be with her. You know, nice heartwarming thing. Happiness. Fast forward a year, she was able to get a job at the cafe in the town. No one knows of her past, really. Except the doctor. The only thing he knows is drugs and alcohol and wild parties. So Scootaloo's coming back one day, kind of like a year later thing. Rainbow Dash is coming back as well with her. You know, her gonna come back. Rainbow Dash is more like a second mother now than a sister. You know, it's all good, it's all happy, and then they come in the house and they find out that her mother's collapsed on the floor. And there's blood on her hoof. Apparently she coughed up blood. Later at the hospital they find out that her liver's failing and her kidneys are completely shot. That since she's a drug addict, she can't get a donation or anything. Like you know how they do an slip of the tongue. Organ transplant in a hospital? Same thing. Like, well, you see, in a hospital, you can't get an organ transplant if you're actually do drugs, or known to do drugs, even weed. Hell, if you're a known drinker, even if you drink on an occasion, you can't get a liver transplant or anything like that. Yeah, I know, it's kind of weird. Whatever. Alrighty, back to the point. So she's dying in the hospital, spending her final days there. Scootaloo is devastated. And the last words that Rainbow Dash can actually say to her, since this is the final days, her final words was, "I am the worst mother alive. I'm glad that she found you. She deserves you. You're a great mother. Just need confidence. Something I lacked, and something, you know, heartwarming." And her words in return could be, "No, you're the best mother in the world. Nah, you're stronger than I am. You gave her up to have a chance at a life that she could never have." Wait, that sounded wrong, now that I think about it. You gave her a chance to have a life in which she could be happy. You gave her that chance, even if it means damning yourself. You are best mother or something like that. And it was like all teary and sad. And you can play with the end the way you want. So, at the end of this entire thing, I accidentally hit the stop button, actually, halfway through this recording. Had to restart it. Alright, so, as this whole thing explained and so forth in some detail, what else is needed for a great story? I mean, you got plot, you got story, you got everything you needed so far. Now, you need to give it your, like, own zing. Sing, zong, zoop. Kind of like your own voice, which is a very weird thing to describe, because I'm pretty sure other people out there can actually describe it better than me. But it's like... let's put that on pause right now. While I think of that. Jumping to the different part here. Accents. Not like accents, more like the way one thinks and says. Now you're probably getting a little confused on that. Like what, a Hicks accent? Russian? British? No, nothing like that. It's kind of like how you, do me a favor then. Find an episode of MLP and just listen to Applejack alone talk. You'll notice how she says the words. Now, it's kind of like what I'm saying is, think like Applejack. You know how her accent goes. And you're right, it's such. But how would she think of things? What words would she use? Her thoughts would be more like to the point, blunt, not blunt, but like to the point, general, countryish. While Twilight's would be more straight to the point, blunt, and scientifical. I'm hoping I'm getting my point across. Rainbow Dashes would be more hysterical, more, well, extreme-ish. You know. I hope I'm getting the point across. Kind of like how, if you're doing Luna, she thinks more regally, you know? She's like, more like thou say that, say this or something. Thou shalt not escape thy punishment. You know, something like that. You know, she'll think more like that line of thought. And how she would say the words in her head. And how she would say the words down. And how she would act. That's something one should actually understand. And the only way to actually understand that, kind of, is not watch the show. For God's sake, if you're going to try to write a story, do not use the damn show as reference. Some people are probably going with pitchforks, grabbing torches already. Let me rephrase it. If you're using the show as a reference for character material, that is the worst idea you could possibly do. Yes, the show is good and so forth, but you can't use it as a reference for a character. A, it's kind of vague and one-way sided. And B, what if you're doing a character like Pip? You know, you don't really get much detail with him, except in the Nightmare Night thing. So, best idea is just read the stories with them involved. Be honest. This is why I was talking about commonalities. Because the best way to actually understand a character is to find a story which a writer, multiple writers, you pick, like, if you're trying to figure out how to write Luna, search up stories for Luna and, like, pick 6 of them. Read all 6 and then use that to describe your character. Best way I think I can get that out. Because that is honestly the way I think it should be. Because it just is. Cause it would just give you a better, like, example of what things are, I guess, would be the thing. Alrighty. Back to the voice. Oh, the voice. Each character has a voice, everyone has a writing style. It's kind of the same thing, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. Someone should, you know what? If anyone's listening to this, comment on this, on the voice part. Comment. Seriously, please. Because I'm actually kind of confused how you would describe a voice inside of a story, because you can't exactly write the way the word you want to say it sounds. You know, because then it just makes no sense, and it just looks like gibberish. What I'm going to probably guess it's more of the writing style in which you write in. Some people write giant paragraphs, some people write small sentences, some people do a little bit of both. Whatever the way you want to write it, it's good. I mean, it's your preference on that completely. Alrighty. I can't think of anything else. I know I probably forgot something, but I can't think of it. Well, that's what I get for doing these things right off the top of my head. Alrighty. If you have any questions, any comments, just throw it in the comment box below and I'll get back to it. And if you have any requests for an idea for a story, I guess I can try something. I mean, you know what? That would be amazingly fun, actually. Anyone, doesn't matter who. Just throw me characters, an idea, character's point, and I'll try to come up with something. This actually sounds like fun, like a fun little challenge. Alright, hope you enjoyed it.